So why aren't temp workers seen in other countries? Because if you can hire as many temps as you want, there's no need to hire regular employees. In short, you can't fire a regular employee. So if you get injured or sick while working, the company has to pay you to maintain your livelihood. There are indeed advantageous terms for laborers in regular employment, but if we can hire people who can come anytime as a dispatch worker, then we don't need to hire them as full-time employees. So we hire full-time employees. To make it a system, we had to increase the number of temp workers. We were doing that in Japan, but during the Koizumi administration, by acknowledging temporary workers outside of public safety workers. It's essentially like there are temporary workers in every industry. Even though we can only hire for a year normally, we renew every year, which means we renew every year. So if you say, then raise our salaries, they'll respond, then we don't need you anymore. Then they say, something impressive from a recent book. There was just about 36,000 insurance companies in Japan, which is top class in the world and looks delicious. Even per capita, it seems to be the most delicious in the world. I was surprised to find that there are so many organizations and managers who hire a lot of carpenters in the prefecture and make a profit from pinning them out. It's the best in the world. Originally, dispatching was illegal except in certain industries, except for public safety labor and the like. In most other countries, temporary work is usually illegal. So in the case of countries like France, if you decide to have a short-term contract, you must not employ after that period. For example, if you're making wine and need someone to work for 4 months, they must work during that period, but absolutely not beyond it. If you work there, there's a huge penalty. That's kind of the feeling in Japan. It's like a short-term dispatch or something, but they extend it by a year each time. And as a result, it continues indefinitely for 5-10 years. They're making that impossible. So why are they doing that kind of thing? For example, that some might say, why not just let them do as they please? But then why are strikes allowed? While there isn't much of it recently, back in the days when JR was called National Railways, there used to be strikes stopping the trains. And it's inconvenient when a strike happens. Then there's the, why don't you let me off the hook part? But even so, no matter how you look at it, employers have an advantage over employees. That's why we have to give employees a means to fight back. That's why we give the right to strike. If you think about it normally, the company's assets can't be arbitrarily used by the company's employees. Whether to operate or not, or whether to produce products or not, is a judgment that employees do on their own. In essence, it's illegal. If it's a company that produces goods there, it's the company's machines to produce their goods. If you can't use it at your own discretion or blockade it, isn't it kind of like a weapon? Employees using this opportunity to refuse to use their company's products. Workers are in a weak position, so they are able to counteract in such a way. In nearly every country, except for North Korea, the right to strike is granted. The case of a tank crew, if they don't raise their salaries, we'll go on strike. Or if everyone wants to get involved, we'll gather and complain. There's something like a collective bargaining right, but in the case of dispatch, it's like, okay, I got it. I'm going to cut you off in a year, so it doesn't matter anymore. Even if you say raise the hourly wage from 1,200 yen to 1,300 yen, I don't care if you quit. The hourly wage doesn't go up. So, the idea that temp work is bad for society is quite commonplace outside of Japan. It's about rules. Originally, it's illegal, right? But in Japan, it's legalized. And for some reason, the dispatch company is swinging their big arm, and it's strange that they are circulating in the world like a decent company.